Hello, I'm Brian Hokinson with the City of Rowlett's Arts and Humanities Commission. As part of our annual programs, we sponsor a writing contest. We have 3 different categories for both youth and adults, and we this year would like to share some of the authors and winners of the contest with you this year. So let's go to those interviews. We have with us today Alan Winn. Alan was an entry into our annual writers contest for 2016, and Alan won 2 of our adult categories this year. Alan, tell us how you found out about the contest, first of all.
I think I found out about it at the library. There's a sign or a sign-up sheet or something like that, and so I decided to go ahead and give it a try. I think at that moment I wrote a poem for it and entered the poem, and I was surprised to win, so that was exciting.
So the 2 works that you did for this particular entry, were they both written specifically for the contest, or were they inspired by other writings you've done?
One was, the story about my dad was a blog entry that I had written. I had a blog, and I haven't really kept up with it like I'd like to, but that was a blog entry. And the one about A Whisper of Love, about the horse, that was just specifically for this contest.
Okay, so let's start with that one, The Whisper of Love. We talked a little bit before this that you don't necessarily own a horse, but you were kind of inspired. What was the inspiration then for this one?
Yeah, I read a story about a lady who had a horse that ran away, and I was surprised to find out that they're like dogs and cats in some cases, where they run back to former location where they used to live. And so it kind of inspired the story. I kind of added some things and embellished it and made it my own, and so I like the way it turned out. Let's
get a little bit of the story. Now, the full work is out on the City of Rowlett webpage under Arts and Humanities Writing Contest. So we're going to give them a little sense of what's going on here. So the first section right before the part you're going to read talks about the horse running away.
One morning while walking through my front room at the break of dawn, I caught a glimpse of Whisper standing outside her large horse pen located a ways off from the house. My initial thought was that beautiful horse down there looks just like Whisper, before it dawned on me that it was her indeed. How could that be? The fence was strong and the gate was always locked, so to this day I'll never know how she got out. What caught my eye the most, however, was the fact that she was staring at me through the window. I was quite sure of it. For what seemed like minutes on end, I stared back, feeling most curious and amazed at this singular event. Finally, Whisper glanced back at her stable, glanced up at me once more, and then turned and started trotting down the long driveway to the main road.
So we'll have to let everyone go to the website to see how the story ends up.
Exactly.
Now, your next writing was also a relationship, and very one much personal to you as well.
Right.
So it's about your dad.
Right.
So how much of the writing in here is true to form, and how much is kind of a projection as to how things are?
You know, this is really true to form, and this is really kind of just straight from my heart. I didn't really embellish anything from this. It was a blog entry and something that I was just feeling at the time. It kind of it grew out of a phone conversation that I had with my sister, and it's difficult to see your parents grow older and the changes that take place, and so that's really kind of the background behind this.
Okay, all right. So this is the winner for our short works section for adults. It's called Dad. Let's have you read part of that for us.
Okay, thank you. I talked to my sister the other night on the phone. It was a short conversation, and we talked mostly about my dad. This past January, my dad turned 90 years old. Mom has already moved on to that glorious next realm. So my sister and her husband live with Dad to help take care of him. They take great care of him too, and my dad is very appreciative. Since they're in California and I'm here in Texas, phone calls keep us connected. Dad is starting to forget things, many things actually. When we talk on the phone, we have similar conversation each time. He asks me where I'm living, and I tell him we're here in Texas. I tell him about the family, and he talks about Mom. I tell him about work, try my best to make it sound interesting, and he tells me about breaking up boxes at the food pantry where he volunteers. I bring up the weather, and he talks about World War II and the impact that it had on his life, and so it goes.
2 pieces, very relational Is that really where you're writing, and when maybe you give advice to a young writer or someone that's out there, is just write from your experience?
Two things: just to get started, and just to write what you're feeling. Just write straight from your heart. I think it's important to get started. Obviously, it's important. If you don't, if it's always in your mind, you don't do it, then it's just not going to happen. To be able to take a thought and an emotion and put it down on paper and have it preserved, and have someone across time and space read it at a, in a different location is amazing to me. And so it's something I love to do, and something I want to pursue and keep doing.
Alan Winn, we'd like to thank you for sharing your works with us and sharing them with the City of Rowlett, and wish you the best in writing, and maybe we'll see you again in future writing contests.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it very much.
And we are today interviewing Miss Jaime Chetty. Jaime is one of the winners of our 2016 Writers Competition, and she won in our short works category for a work titled How to Become the Next Top Spy. Now, we'll talk about that in just a moment, and I want to make sure you're not spying on us right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got you on film. Okay, so tell me, how did you find out about the contest, Jaime, first of all?
My teacher told us about it, so.
Okay, who was your teacher? And where do you go to school?
At the Classical Center at Viral Elementary, my teacher's Miss Nagwai.
Do you like writing at home or reading?
Yes, I love to read.
Okay, tell us some things you like to read.
I really like fiction books a lot. I really like mysteries.
Harry Potter kind of things, or
No.
No. Okay, that's okay. That's off the radar. Okay. Well, let's have you read a little bit from your work, How to Become the Next Top Spy, and we kind of take it up in the middle of it. You first talk about what an average day would look like for your training, and we'll let people go to the website for the City of Rowlett to look at that. But this next section is really some of the tips you would give to someone who is learning to be a spy. So let's have you read that section.
Here's all the tips I followed to get to be a spy at the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, by following these tips. 1. I don't get in trouble with the government or law. Be honest if you did something wrong, because you would not be a trustworthy person if you lie. 2. You can't tell your friends and family, and I know that it will be hard to say, hey, I'm a spy, because being a part of a secret agent, well, it has to be a secret. 3. Learn a new foreign language if you want to work in a foreign country. You've got to learn the language of that country, but in some countries there's more than one language. But you can only learn the main spoken language. 4. Be a good citizen by helping out the underdogs so they can become big dogs. Woof, woof.
All right, helping out the underdog. So is this really written to kids or adults, or are you really thinking about doing spy work or mystery work in your life, or would you rather just be the writer about mysteries?
Be the writer.
Okay, all right. Are you working on other writings right now, either in class? I know class is winding down as we speak today.
Nope.
Okay, all right. Well, we may see you on the next CIA enlistment role or in the writers gallery. So we appreciate your time today. Again, congratulations for your writing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime. We're here with Leila Gonzalez. Hello, Layla.
Hello.
And you were an entrant and a winner, and you won in the short works department. And we're going to read a little bit of yours, which we'd call maybe a little bit of a little mini play. Is that how you describe it?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But first of all, how did you find out about the contest?
Well, we were sitting in the classroom, and Miss Nagwai, my teacher, had pulled up a link and told us all about our the competition.
So this particular topic is talking about dogs, and if dogs could talk.
Yes.
So do you have dogs?
Yes. 3.
Okay, so are the characters that you've mentioned in this, are they named the same? It's like there's a Roxy and there's several others. Are those made up names or those the real names?
They're actually real names.
Okay, so did they come to you one night and say, we're not represented in writing enough, you need to write a story about us? Is that how it?
No, I was actually sitting down on the couch, and I was just thinking of ideas, and the first thing I happened to look at was one of my dogs.
Okay.
So I thought, what if I could write a play about dogs?
Okay. All right, so we're going to have you read the first section of this, and the whole work is out on the City of Rowlett's website under the Arts and Humanities Writing Contest. So go ahead and read it, and we'll build up some of the tension to see if folks want to go out and read the whole work. Go ahead and read that for us.
Okay. Narrated is a fish. I saw it all with my 2 eyes, mostly because I can't blink. The dogs smelled the squirrel. Mitty didn't notice, and Lulu was too busy napping. The squirrel was outside. As soon as Janie opened the door, whoosh! Roxy ran as fast as she could. All you could see was a red blur. Down the alley, across the street, through town. All she could think was, get the squirrel. Now it's time for you to figure out the rest. Scene 2. Roxy. Ruff, ruff. I think I need to take a break. Wait, where am I? She looks around and knows she is not home. Oh no. Look, it's a dog shelter. How convenient. I can stay there until I find my way back home. I bet there'll be yummy treats, and beds and toys, and maybe even a squirrel pen. No, humans cannot hear the animals. All they hear are sounds. Roxy walks to the door and starts scratching. Hello? Dog catcher opens the door. Well, look what we have here. Get in, mutt. Okay. Hey, Ben, check for the tag. Yes, boss. Ben kneels down to check for a tag. Don't worry, little pup. We'll get you home. No tag. Put her in a pen. Yes, boss.
Whoa. Sounds like you've acted this out before, because you had you may be an actor as well as a writer. So that's really neat. So is your real Roxy, is it a girl or a boy?
It's a girl.
And does she take off after squirrels if she's not
She
attended?
usually tries to leave a lot.
Okay. So this is a really neat work. Are you doing other writing? Are there other types of writing or books that you like to be involved with?
I do like reading books a lot.
Okay. Any particular ones that are about certain topics? Again, are they animal books or adventure books or what?
Well, I don't really have a specific topic, but I do have a writer I've been reading a bunch of his books from.
Okay. Who is that?
James Patterson.
Okay. Very well known. James Patterson. Great. Well, we appreciate your time today, Layla, and maybe we'll see you next year in another writing competition.
That'd be really cool.
Thanks a lot. We have with us now Carol Cardenes-Grimaldi, and we're glad to have you here today. It's part of our writing contest for the City of Rowlett Arts and Humanities Commission. And Carol, you entered a section in our category of short poetry. Tell us about how long you've been writing and some of the other things you've been working on.
I think I started writing as soon as I know how to write.
Wow.
I used to write letters to my mom. And then I started doing some poetry when I was a child. And then I joined a literacy group in my country that writes for children and youth.
Okay.
When I came to the United States, I started learning English, and then I went to Richland College and I took creative writing.
Wow.
And there I realized I can write in English too.
This obviously is a fairly personal piece. My sense is it is biographical. You have a son and a daughter?
I had a son and a daughter.
Okay, so it's called Sweet Dreams, and it's basically the mother's view on the children as they sleep. Why don't you kind of read a couple of the sections there for us?
As my children sleep, I look at them. Hands are explode all over the ship, like butterflies displaying their wings. My children dreams different from mine. My little boy is sweating and turns around, his body in passion, busy and agitated in his sleep, living adventures, running free at his dreams. Turns around and faces me, his eyes tightly closed, hair curly around his head. I gently stroke his hair. I smell the freshness of him, feel the warmth of his body, the innocence, the courage. Angelic side of my little boy. He feels I am here, close to him. He knows. My girl smiles and drinks. This smile is not for me.
So 2 lines in there really spoke, as I was listening to you, is the dreams are not for you, but they are for the little boy. And we probably, as parents, think about things differently than our kids. And so the dreams that he was having were what? Things he's playing with, or what does he talk to you about when he dreams? Or does he?
He loves to sing.
Okay.
Sometimes he drinks and sings in his sleep. He's very active So I think he may be playing around or something like that.
Have the kids actually read this poem, or have you read it
Yes,
to them? Yes,
they did, and they like it, and they feel proud.
Okay. Are you working on other poems? Or?
I am.
Okay. What are those topics about? Again, about family or what?
I go inspired by many things. Sometimes I just see and smile, or something that catch my attention. Like one day my cat was playing around, so I sit down and wrote a poem about the cat playing with his tail.
Okay.
I had another poem about a butterfly and a dragonfly, something like that.
Okay, very observant. Well, we appreciate your time in putting this together and coming in and sharing that with us today. And again, congratulations on winning, and maybe we'll see you again next year in the contest.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
motivated to participate again.
Thank you. All right, we have with us today Francesca Concepcion. And thank you for joining us, first of all. And you entered a poem into the writing contest for the Arts and Humanities Commission for City of Rowlett, and you awarded one of the awards. And so we've got you here today to share some of your work with us. And it seems to be a very mature piece for a young lady like you. But before we have you read some of it, tell us, how did you find out about the contest to do the
My
writing?
teacher told us about it, and she made each student write something, but I really just wanted to write.
Okay. So did you like to write even before working on this?
Yes.
Okay. Are there some favorite other writers or other books that you like to read?
Not specifically, but all authors and books inspire me.
Okay. So this inspiration for this piece called In Our Hearts, what made you think about writing this particular topic?
My everyday experience and how I felt when I was writing it.
Okay. All right. So it talks about, and kind of in parentheses, in our hearts, there's both bad and there's good as well. So you kind of struggle with that, as many people do. Well, let's have you read a little piece of that for us, Francesca, right at the beginning.
Okay. True love's true, even when we're blue, and even if we have the flu. We share and care, we try to be fair, we try our best just for you. Down deep in our hearts, inside of each soul, there's a warm place inside, but nobody knows. The fire's burning bright, shining a great light, glowing every day and night. Loving, caring, when music's telling, we have our chances and we'll make it right. True love's true, there's room for two, we're all watching over you. Our hearts, all hearts, filled with glee. Is there something wrong with me?
Oh, so that's when that line leads off to, is there something wrong with me? I think you talk about in the rest of it, no, everybody has good and bad thoughts. Right. So what did you share this with some of your classmates, and what was their reaction to this? Or maybe when you read it to your parents, did they say, oh, I never really knew you felt that way?
Yeah, they were like, wow, that's really nice, and I really felt that.
Okay, well that's really neat. Are you working on other writing now? I know school's about up for you, but other things you'd like to write about sometime?
Not that I know of, but if something comes up, I will.
Okay. Well, we thank you for sharing that with us today, Francesca Concepcion, and have a good summer, and maybe we'll see you again next year for the writing contest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We encourage every young artist, writer, sculptor, whatever you might be, to check out the webpage for the City of Rowlett, as shown down here below, for our Arts and Humanities competitions throughout the course of the year, and also look at the full content of the writings for the interviewees today. We encourage everyone to go to that website and also check out our Facebook page, the City of Rowlett's Arts and Humanities Commission. Thank you very much.